Welcome back to the Zero Waste section of your podcast playlist. In this episode, I'm going to show you what my life is like as a zero waster on a weekly basis. By the way, if you find this podcast valuable, please support the show over on iTunes or Spotify, either with a short review, a star rating, or please just tell one of your friends about it. Thank you, and on with the podcast. It's been over 2 years where I've travelled on this zero waste journey, and the podcast is now also coming up for being 2 years old. While I've shared many ideas and concepts, how do all the things I share on the podcast actually fit together? That's the idea for this episode. How I am saving not only money, but importantly, time as well. My hope with this episode is that it provides some insight, systematizing what are all sorts of different approaches to living so that it becomes second nature. And just like that, let's start with my Mondays. Mondays are the day I sell and deliver the bulk of my yogurt. More on that later. I use recycled glass jars, and customers return the jars as I make my rounds to the other side of Hong Kong Island. In a straight line there and back, this would take around an hour of my time. However, there are some shops on the other side of the island that are worth visiting, so I incorporate visits to a zero waste store and a specific supermarket into the trip. I actually have to buy my cheese on a Monday or go without any in order to stay zero waste. All this activity on a Monday enables me to not go again to these shops for the next 2 weeks. My total journey would now be roughly about 2.5 hours. So I leave the house with kilos of yogurt, I come back with kilos of zero waste produce. It's a neat, tidy routine. Tuesdays I carry any glass, metal or food items to the recycling composting centre, which is on the way to the metro station. Once delivered to the composting centre, I can jump on the train to my first student, and leaving early, I can also take the time to walk instead of catching a minibus for the final leg of that journey. I'll save some cash along the way and put it towards the purchase of my, air quotes, free Apple Watch. That episode I covered in January 2020, which I'll do a follow-up episode to soon. I do this kind of money-saving walking multiple times each week, but to keep this episode short, I won't mention the other instances. Wednesdays by this point in the week, the food leftovers are filling a second bag to be composted. I don't throw any food in the waste bin. This ensures I can throw away any household waste probably once every 10 days. When I do my normal shopping, as normal as can be considering, I make sure to not buy anything that comes in plastic. This took a while to get into a routine, but once done, I pack my containers and head over to the local food markets. I can get all my fresh produce without plastic wrap. My meat comes directly from the butchers in a container, and my eggs are bought wrapped in cardboard. I also bulk buy where possible, so there are no unnecessary return journeys, and I'm less likely to be tempted by the in-store special offers. That's another way to save money, by the way. The fewer times I go, the less chance I've bought something I didn't need. Thursdays and Fridays. This is where I start buying milk in glass bottles in order to ferment it into yogurt. If I have empty milk bottles, they get returned to the local 7-Eleven with my deposit returned when I'm on my way to somewhere else. Of course, if I was just making yogurt for myself, it would be on a Sunday. This problem is unique to me as the milk only comes in small bottles here in Hong Kong. I can't bulk buy or get a delivery of this milk either. I have to source them from various shops in my neighbourhood. I can buy the milk in a carton, but that misses the point of going zero waste. But remember, I choose to do this bit. Every time I leave the house on a weekday, I always try to make sure I'm leaving the house with something to return or recycle or include a bag or container in my carry bag. It's part of my practice from when I worked as a waiter. Empty hands were a waste in the catering industry where you make multiple trips to the kitchen. So this for me is as effortless as needing to remember my keys or bring my phone with me. To help with the slightly heavier physical overhead of carrying more, I switched to using a small IKEA bag. These bags, while plastic, are cheap, heavy duty and large enough to carry everything I need on a whim. If need be, I can carry a cloth bag inside for more carrying capacity. On weekday evenings, I will prepare and make my zero waste items, things like kombucha, toothpaste, mouthwash. My morning and early afternoons before work are served by working on creating content such as this. Saturday and Sunday are usually the days where I'm only preparing yogurt, the most time consuming out of the tasks, if only for an hour of my attention. Then we're easily back onto Monday again to repeat the entire cycle. that is roughly the schedule I aim for each week. I hope you found that useful or helpful in any way. I hope it doesn't seem intimidating, complicated, or time-consuming, though I admit the consideration towards these many lifestyle tweaks take a while before it becomes entirely seamless. But you already know how much I'm saving, so personally, I can attest to the fact it's been worth it so far. If you enjoyed this episode, please tell iTunes or Spotify about it. It's a helpful way to let the podcast grow and possibly get others to save their money. If you want to check out any of my other podcasts or my YouTube channel, please go to JonathanJK.com.